There are a lot of songs that reference each other or lyrical parallels, and one of the ones that I like is the entire song, This Is Me Trying, then being referenced again in Mirror Ball.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the most gut-wrenching Taylor Swift lyrical callbacks.
I once believed love would be black and white, but it's golden.
Number 10. Lover and Death by a Thousand Cuts.
Songs about things not turning out the way you wanted them to, or songs about what you thought would be love and it turned out to not be that at all, or, just kind of the struggle of life.
It feels contradictory that one of Taylor Swift's most gut-wrenching breakup songs would be on an album called Lover. Upon release in 2019, Death by a Thousand Cuts quickly became a fan favorite. Some may not have noticed that the word "my" plays an important role in 2 songs on the album. At the start of Death by a Thousand Cuts, a haunting repetition preludes the first verse. Later, it returns as Swift lists the part of herself affected by the loss.
My heart, my hips, my body, my love, trying to find a part of me that you didn't touch.
In the album's title track, the same repetition is used, but this time to refer to Swift's lover.
Lover.
The parallel makes the songs even more emotional, especially given that they appear on the same album.
If someone's going to take your hand, they'd better take your hand, scars and all. So this is called Lover.
Number 9. Last Kiss, Taylor's version, and Paper Rings.
So I watch your life in pictures like I used to watch you sleep.
Across Swift's discography, there are countless references to being awake in the middle of the night. In fact, she even released an entire album devoted to it.
It's a concept album, and the main question is what keeps you up at night. So it's, you could be up at night because you're reeling from just having met someone and you're falling for them, or you could be plotting revenge.
Long before reflecting on sleepless nights, Swift alluded to the idea of watching your partner sleeping, but in very different contexts. In Paper Rings, she sings about the lead up to her relationship and how she finally gets to wake up and see her partner sleeping beside her.
Cat and mouse for a month or 2 or 3. Now I wake up in the night and watch you breathe.
However, years earlier, she wrote a similar line in Last Kiss, where the same sentiment is expressed as a memory after a breakup. Is it too on the nose to say that the duality of the lyrics keeps us up at night?
The most intense times in your life are when you're either falling in love or losing it.
Number 8. You Are in Love, Taylor's version, and Peace.
This song was basically like, is it enough? Is the stuff that I can control enough to sort of block out the things that I can't?
Over the years, Swift has spent a lot of time discussing her view on love in interviews and messages to fans, but mainly through her lyrics. 2 of her love songs that are among the most vulnerable are You Are in Love, Taylor's version, and Peace.
You can hear it in the silence,
While the albums they originate from are completely different, the messages in both tracks are quite similar. She discusses the idea of love being quiet rather than boastful.
All these people think love's for show, but I would die for you in secret.
She identifies silence as being a comforting place to be with your loved one, and much louder than any words. In essence, it's the antithesis of her very loud and often chaotic professional life.
Give you the silence that only comes when 2 people understand each other. Family that I chose never to see your brother as my brother.
Number 7. The Very First Night, Taylor's version, From the Vault, and Out of the Woods, Taylor's version.
Back then we didn't know, we were built to fall apart. We broke the status quo, then we broke each other's hearts.
Through the releases of Swift's re-recorded albums and vault tracks, fans have learned more about the lore of her former flames. Particularly, her infamous relationship with singer Harry Styles has been featured across multiple albums. The star-crossed romance was previously explored in Out of the Woods, where Swift described the relationship as, quote, built to fall apart, then fall back together.
That was another song that I feel sounds exactly like that emotion, that frantic anxiety of wondering if you're on solid ground yet. And I wrote that about a time in my life where I was in a relationship that just I was always kind of wondering.
Meanwhile, the vault track, The Very First Night, uses a similar line to describe the same tragic fate. Fans also notice that Is It Over Now references the alleged snowmobile accident cited in Out of the Woods.
When you're lost, control. Red blood, white snow.
Whatever the inspiration, Swift has an undeniable knack for disguising her most devastating lyrics in the catchiest bops.
Remember when you hit the brakes too soon? 20 stitches in a hospital room. When you started crying, baby, I did too.
Number 6. Invisible String and Tolerate It.
Something wrapped all up my past mistakes in barbed wire.
They don't call Folklore and Evermore sister albums for nothing. While the albums share many similarities, there are no two songs more different than Invisible String and Tolerate It. The enchanting Folklore track uses fate to explain how small circumstances lead to discovering the one you're destined to be with.
I kind of love the romantic idea that every step you're taking one step closer to where you're supposed to be, guided by this little, invisible string.
Meanwhile, its Evermore counterpart is a darker song of disillusionment in a relationship. However, both songs are tied together by their use of imagery, particularly barbed wire. Invisible String describes how a partner discards the protagonist's past behind barbed wire. Tolerate It, on the other hand, wonders where that man has gone.
Where's that man who throw blankets over my barbed wire?
Just like the edges of barbed wire, these lyrical parallels reopen old wounds every time we hear them. Number 5. New Romantics, Taylor's version, and Call It What You Want.
My castle crumbled overnight.
Call It What You Want has been linked to multiple songs over the years, whereas Nothing New describes Swift feeling outdated and unwanted.
And we still want me when I'm nothing new.
Call It What You Want triumphantly declares that her lover views her as brand new.
Fly like a jet stream, high above the whole scene, loves me like I'm brand new.
Meanwhile, the track Clean uses the imagery of dying flowers to describe a dead relationship, a theme the singer also adopted to describe her thorny outlook on life.
All my flowers grew back as thorns, windows boarded up after the storm.
However, the standout parallel is easily between the Reputation track and New Romantics. The latter describes building a castle with bricks that her cynics have thrown, whereas the former declares that the castle fell apart in the end. It's a great way to bridge the two albums with the turbulent period that came between. Number 4. Nothing New, Taylor's version, From the Vault, and Mirror Ball.
I'm still on that tightrope, I'm still trying everything to get you laughing at me.
Taylor Swift is no stranger to the cost of fame. Throughout her career, she's often drawn attention to the negative side effects of celebrity status.
We have mirror balls in the middle of a dance floor because they reflect light, they are broken a million times, and that's what makes them so shiny. We have people like that in society too.
Mirror Ball is a vulnerable track that explores the feelings of isolation associated with stardom. She describes being in a solo performance on a tightrope, an image that is paralleled in the 1989 vault track Say Don't Go.
I'm standing on a tightrope alone.
The themes of trying to stay relevant are also closely mirrored on the red vault track Nothing New.
And someone else lights up the room. Love and ingenue.
The idea of being a mirror ball in the center of the room, cracked and displayed for entertainment, is a strikingly visceral sentiment. But what happens when a new, shinier version replaces you above the dance floor?
Shimmering beautiful.
This fear is a raw and emotional confession that gets us in our feels every time. Number 3. Dear John, Taylor's version, and Would've, Could've, Should've.
Don't you think?
Hours after the release of her 10th album, Midnights, Swift surprised fans by giving them the deluxe version, Midnights 3 AM edition. Out of 7 bonus tracks, one in particular stood out as being a callback to an earlier tune.
If I was some paint, did it splatter on a promising grown man?
Listeners instantly recognized the similarities between Would've, Could've, Should've and the fan-favorite song Dear John. Swift looks back on a relationship with an older man from a much more mature perspective. In both songs, paint is used as a metaphor to literally create a picture of the toxic relationship.
You paint me a blue sky, then go back and turn it to rain.
She also directly references being 19 years old at the time of the relationship. leaving very little question as to exactly what, or rather who, she is singing to.
And I damn sure never would have danced with the devil at 19.
Number 2, The Moment I Knew, Taylor's version, and All Too Well, 10-minute version, Taylor's version from the vault.
And he said it's supposed to be fun, turning 21.
There are many Red lyrical callbacks we could include for this entry. We love the reference to Shakespeare's play, All's Well That Ends Well, in All Too Well 10-minute version.
They say all's well that ends well, but I'm in a new hell every time.
And later, Lover.
My heart's been borrowed and yours has been blue. All's well that ends well to end up with you.
We also have to mention the twin fire signs and twin flame brews of State of Grace and the 10-minute opus.
Did the twin flame bruise paint you blue?
But the best parallel comes from 2 of Red's most gut-wrenching tracks. For years, many suspected that Swift's 21st birthday party was the catalyst for her breakup with then 29-year-old Jake Gyllenhaal, as alluded to in The Moment I Knew.
And they're all standing around me singing, happy birthday to you.
This theory was confirmed in All Too Well 10-minute version when Swift point-blank referenced Gyllenhaal's no-show at her party. All we can say is, ouch.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1, Red, Taylor's version, and Daylight.
Loving him is red.
This might just be the most famous lyrical callback in Swift's discography. In 2012, the artist released the original version of her album Red with an accompanying title track. The lyrics of Red describe the romance at the heart of the album, matching colors to the songstress's feelings and ultimately describing her love as burning red.
I still see it all in my head, burning red.
Years later, Swift concluded her album Lover with Daylight. Here, she reflects on her previous ideas about love, concluding that it's actually golden.
I once believed love would be burning red, but it's golden.
Not only is this lyric an Easter egg for Swifties, but it also shows how Swift's perspective on the intricate topic has evolved as she has matured. Which lyrical parallel do you love to belt out through your tears? Let us know in the comments.
Is it over now?
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.